The survivors of the first game stumbled back into the cold assembly hall, their faces ghostly pale, their steps heavy with exhaustion and fear. The room, once filled with over 40 players, now felt like a tomb. The air was thick with the weight of their shared trauma, broken only by the occasional sob or muttered prayer. Song Min-jae stood near the back, leaning against the cold metal wall, his sharp eyes scanning the room. 18 left. Just 18. He counted them again, his instincts kicking in. Among them were a wiry young man who clutched his chest as though shielding a wound, an older woman with piercing eyes who watched everyone like a hawk, and a burly man with a square jaw and hands that looked capable of snapping bones. They were all survivors for now. Min-jae's gaze shifted to the masked organizers, standing like statues along the edges of the room. The featureless visors of their masks reflected the fluorescent lights, their postures unnervingly rigid. But one figure drew his attention, as it always did: Du Kyung-soo. Min-jae's breath hitched as he stared at the man who had once been his closest friend. Kyung-soo stood among the guards, motionless, his presence more unsettling than the others. "Why are you here, Kyung-soo? What happened to you?" Before Min-jae could dwell further, the distorted voice returned, cutting through the oppressive silence like a blade. "Welcome to the second round. In this game, you will test your trust and logic. Cooperation is key, but betrayal will not go unnoticed. Follow the guards to the arena." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. The survivors were herded out of the hall like cattle, flanked by silent guards. The narrow corridors were illuminated by harsh fluorescent lights that cast stark shadows on the walls. The players walked in uneasy silence, the tension palpable. Some whispered among themselves. "Trust," a young man muttered. "They're testing trust now? In a place like this?" An older woman snapped, her voice bitter. "Trust is for fools. We're all just waiting for the next trap." Min-jae said nothing, his thoughts racing. Trust and logic. They're testing us as humans. They want to see what breaks first, our morality or our survival instincts. After what felt like an eternity, the group emerged into a massive circular arena. The sterile, metallic walls gleamed under harsh lighting, amplifying the sense of exposure. In the center of the room was a glowing grid etched into the floor, its intricate patterns mesmerizing and disorienting. Surrounding the grid were rows of transparent cubicles, each containing 2 stools and a single table. On each table sat a black button and a sealed box. The players exchanged uneasy glances, their fear mirrored in one another's eyes. Min-jae's attention snapped to Kyung-soo, who stood among the guards lining the walls. He felt Kyung-soo's gaze, even through the mask. "What is your role in all of this?" A guard stepped forward, his deep voice booming across the room. "Each player will be paired with another. Inside your cubicle, you will face a choice: trust or betray. Here are the rules. If neither of you presses the button, you both fail. A loud buzzer will sound, and both players will be eliminated. If one presses the button and the other doesn't, the one who presses will receive the full reward. The other will suffer the consequences." The room tensed at the word "suffer," which carried an unmistakable weight. If both press the button, the punishment will be shared. Neither will advance. "The key to survival is trust," the guard concluded, his tone devoid of empathy. The players broke into murmurs, their voices a mix of confusion and rising panic. This wasn't just a test of logic. It was a psychological battlefield, one designed to fracture alliances and breed paranoia. Min-jae was paired with Kim Ji-ae, a woman in her mid-30s who had kept to herself throughout the first game. She was sharp-eyed and composed, her every movement calculated. As they entered their cubicle, Min-jae couldn't help but study her. She sat across from him with a calmness that bordered on unsettling. "You don't look scared," Min-jae remarked as he took his seat. Yas mirket faintly. I've been scared before. It didn't help. A timer appeared on the wall, glowing red. 5 o'clock. Min-jae opened the sealed box on the table. Inside was a single card with one word: decide. The chaos outside their cubicle was immediate. Shouts and accusations filled the arena. You'll press it, won't you? Just say it. Let's trust each other. We can both live. If you press it, I'll kill you in the next game. In one cubicle, a man slammed the button without hesitation. His partner's face twisted in shock, followed by a piercing alarm. The guards entered seconds later, dragging out the lifeless body. In another, neither partner pressed the button. When the timer hit 0, the failure alarm blared. Guards stormed in, executing both players with cold efficiency. Inside their cubicle, Jae leaned forward, her hand hovering near the button. So, she said, her tone casual, but her eyes sharp. What's it going to be? Do you trust me? Min-jae leaned back, his expression unreadable. Trust isn't the point, he said. Logic is, if you press the button, you'll survive this round, but you'll lose any chance of allies in the next. If I press, the same goes for me. Cooperation is the only way forward. Jae raised an eyebrow. And if you're lying? I'm not, Min-jae replied. But if you think I am, go ahead. Press the button. Just know that it'll make you a target. The timer ticked down to 3 o'clock. Jae's hand trembled slightly, but her eyes remained locked on Min-jae's. You're good at this, she said finally. Too good. That's why I don't trust you. Then press it, Min-jae said calmly. Or don't. Your choice. The tension was suffocating. Jae's hand hovered closer to the button, her breathing shallow. The timer hit 1 o'clock. With 0:30 left, Jae pulled her hand away. Fine, she muttered. But if you screw me over, I'll make sure you don't make it to the next round. Min-jae smirked faintly. Fair enough. The timer hit midnight. A green light flashed in their cubicle, signaling their survival. Jae let out a shaky breath, while Min-jae remained composed. As the survivors emerged, the arena felt emptier than before. Blood smeared the floors near several cubicles. Min-jae counted quickly. 10 left. Jae lingered by his side as they were herded back to their quarters. You're dangerous, she said quietly. But you're not wrong. Min-jae smirked again. You're still alive, aren't you? That night, as Min-jae lay on his bunk, his mind swirled with questions. Why is Kyung-soo here? What are they trying to accomplish? A faint whisper interrupted his thoughts, carried through the ventilation system. 001. They're watching you. Don't trust anyone. Min-jae sat upright, his heart pounding. The warning wasn't just a reminder. It was a threat, and he knew the real games had only just begun.